Good afternoon, guys. Happy Saturday to all of your sunshiny faces. Oh, goodness, guys, I don't even know what day it is today. But guys, I frosted all of the pretty sugar cookies that I made yesterday, I thought Bliss actually ended up eating 2. She only ate 1. I was 1 short, one of these ones. And then also over here, I made all of these too, and I was 1 short on the acorn one. So these are acorn pumpkin. I got 2 different types of leaves down here. And then I've also got little owls and then also some little squirrels as well, which the red didn't turn out like I wanted to. It was more of a, looked kind of purple at first, and then it kind of came out a little bit more pink. But the problem is I ran out of red. So I added a thing of blue because it said like 4 red to 1 blue was like a dusty rose color. So I thought that would look a little bit better than like a very, very light pastel pink color. So I didn't really get the ideal color that I wanted. And I actually thought the brown turned out pretty well. It looks like a cinnamon kind of, I don't know how well you guys can tell, but it kind of looks like a little cinnamon brown kind of color. And then that's next to that like pinky color. But overall, like I thought they turned out pretty well. Colors weren't perfectly ideal, but they looked pretty good. So, yeah, and I got all of them done. I had to, like, seriously, guys, I did a bunch of sugar cookies. And like, yeah, it was a lot. And I ended up actually doubling the recipe of icing that I needed, which I actually came out like just perfectly. I had a little bit extra left over, with the exception of like, I think the yellow I was really starting to run out on at the end. But with everything else, like even the red was a little bit less, but the orange and the brown color I had little extras of. But yeah, guys, today we had our football practice this morning, guys. It was 36 degrees and it was snowing during practice this morning, actually snowing. It was crazy, guys. It was, which I don't know if my teeth are like different colors or my tongue or anything like that, because yeah, I did sneak some of the icing. Oh no, it's not really. I kept getting icing on my fingers and kept licking it off, so it didn't stain or nothing. But anyways, guys, we had practice this morning. Yeah, like I said, we had it was 9:30 to, or 9 to 9 to 10:30, and it was at the high school. We had one kid show up, the coach's kid showed up in shorts and a t-shirt. One of the other kids had a sweatshirt, hat on, long socks, but he was wearing shorts. I couldn't believe it, guys. I was all dressed up like crazy. I actually didn't, I thought it was going to be like maybe a little bit warmer than it was. I had leggings on, and I had actually this flannel, which my mom just gave me yesterday. It's so stinking warm. Then I wore my North Face over that. And I had my earmuffs on and my gloves and everything, right? So it wasn't too freezing cold. It was cold when the wind was blowing, when the sun wasn't out, and when it was snowing. In which it was like on and off, because like the sun would come out for like a handful of minutes and then it'd go away again, and then it starts snowing. And then the sun would come back out and then it'd go away and then it'd start snowing again. And it was like kind of windy too. So it was a little bad, but honestly not quite as bad as like I feel like that, what was it? The Thursday or Tuesday night's practice of last week, because I was in gym shoes and like I just, even though I dressed like kind of prepared for it, like I didn't have my earmuffs, like I had gloves, I was wearing like a sweatshirt with something else over it. I was just really unprepared for football practice that night. I was cold Tuesday night, and like it wasn't as bad for me today, but we ended up going to that. And then at 1 o'clock, the team that we needed to lose to make it to the playoffs was playing, they were playing the home game. So the other team that we were rooting for, my dad had called them ahead of time actually. They gave us game film on the team that we're playing tomorrow, and because they had just played them last week, and we went to go cheer them on and everything like that, right, guys? So the team that we want to win is up 6-0 at halftime. And ended up, they were up 6-0 when we got there. It was the end of the first quarter. We got there, and like right when we got there, the other team ended up blocking a punt and recovered it in the end zone for a touchdown. They missed the extra point. It was 6-6. That was at halftime. Then the other team, again, the team that we didn't want to win, ended up marching downfield and eventually ended up scoring, and they got the extra point. It was 14-6 at this time. I think they threw a pass into the end zone. The kid ended up bobbling it. It was all crazy, and then a lineman caught it, which technically I thought should have been illegal, because at this age, I mean, I guess not technically, but I don't know, because he wasn't downfield, but he was past the line of scrimmage. I don't know. I just don't think that he should have been able to, but my dad really wasn't arguing it either, so I guess he knows most of the rules better than I do. But my dad brought up the point that if he was a striper, which is that he is too heavy to run the ball, and he was on the line, he wouldn't have been able to catch it in the end zone, because it would have been because they're not allowed to advance the ball. They're allowed to recover the ball if it is on a fumble, but they're not allowed to advance the ball, because if they're over a certain weight, they can't run the ball and not go out for a pass or anything like that, because it is just for running weight and safety reasons and things like that. So if you have a kid that's playing at an 80-pound level, which they don't call it that anymore now, it's all by age division, but let's just say it's 80-pound level. You have a kid that's over, I think it's 83 pounds or something like that, or I don't even remember what striper weight is, something like that. But that's for the third, fourth grade, I think, or something like that. Or no, I think that would be 9U. 9-year-olds that are over than, I think, 80 pounds or something. Again, guys, I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, if they weigh over that, they have to wear a stripe on their helmet, and they can't advance the ball. And so my dad brought up that point too. If this kid that was on the line would have been a striper, he couldn't have caught the ball in the end zone. And so just because he was on the line and he wasn't a tight end, he was honestly their center or something like that. I think that ended up, because the ball was bobbled right at the line of scrimmage, and they only, I think it was 2 yards, 3 yards off, 4 yards off, something like that. And so they ended up passing it, but it was bobbled and came back to the kid on the line, and he ended up catching it, and they called it, right? So anyways, though, guys, yeah, I was just confused about that, because I didn't think he would have been allowed to, but the kids on the field were arguing it too, and none of their coaches said anything. My dad didn't say anything, and normally he's pretty certain of the rules. He just brought that fact up. So anyways, after that, it was 6-14, and again, the team we needed to win was down. They ended up throwing this beautiful pass. The kid stumbles into the end zone, and he was getting tackled while he was falling across the line. He got the touchdown, right? Then, because a field goal is worth 2 points and a pass into the end zone was worth 2 points in our league, a run into the end zone is only worth 1. So they ended up kicking the field goal. It bounces off of the goal post and goes in. They're tied 14-14. The other team ends up marching the ball downfield with a couple minutes left in the half, or in the game, and then they ended up fumbling it. The other team ended up recovering it, and they tried a couple passes and didn't get it. And guys, I forgot where I was, but so then they ended up, like I said, they intercepted the ball or ran the ball. They ended up getting close, but they didn't get in the end zone, so we ended up going into overtime. Which, like I said, we drove all the way out to this game to watch it, because we were really cheering on the team that we needed to lose or cheering on the team that we needed to win, so the other team would lose, so we'd get into the playoffs. Which, in the end, guys, honestly, it was a situation where, we should have written our own destiny instead of letting other teams determine whether or not we're going to make it in, because, stuff like that happens, and it's not always going to be in our favor, instead of us just, again, 2 easy games that we really should have won, where we only lost by 1 touchdown, 6 points, whatever it was. Honestly, I don't even think they ended up getting the extra points. And it was, I think, 2 games, the homecoming game and 1 game prior. Again, the team that we needed to win today, we lost to both of those teams 6-0. Those were 2 easy games that we should have won, we'd be in the playoffs right now. There'd be no, no talking about this at all. But again, didn't end up happening that way. Anyways, so it's 14-14. The team that we want to win, ends up getting on the fourth down or something, third down, fourth down, something like that. They ended up getting into the end zone, right? Great. They ended up kicking the field goal. It missed. It bounced off the side of the thing, literally by like a couple of inches, hit off the goalpost. Didn't go in. The other team ended up on fourth down. Their running back, who they had this one running back who was their whole team, literally, and I just don't understand how the other team couldn't figure out how to stop them. I mean, honestly, if you have one kid to key on the whole game, it's not that difficult to figure out, and they didn't do anything different with their defense. They did no blitzing. They were in a base defense like the entire time, and then on top of that, too, they just, like, if you know that that's the same kid, they literally ran the same plays. That's how they got in the end zone the one time, was they ran the same play to the same kid. Every once in a while, they give it to one of the other kids that was in the backfield. But it was the exact same kid, number 33, I think, or something like that. And I still remember his names because the announcers literally, like, had your ears bleeding so much because they said it so often. But that kid ended up bobbling the ball, right? I was like, oh yes, it's gonna fall. He catches it, falls into the end zone, ends up getting the touchdown, and then they ended up, because it was 20-20 at this point, all they need to do is do anything, kick a field goal, pass, run in the end zone. They ended up running in the end zone. Final is 20-21 was the final, and we ended up losing. We ended up losing. But no, we are out of the playoffs, guys, which I feel like it was maybe a little bit better this way. Not that, like, if, again, they lost to a team that hadn't won a game all season. They beat them last week. Then they lose to this team that's ranked higher than them. Again, I just don't understand all this, like, at this silver level that we are at. Teams win and lose, and, like, there's no, like, just a dominant team. I mean, there's one team that's undefeated, but you win and lose to all these random teams that, like, you should have beat. Again, we should have beat those two teams, like I said, but our offense didn't click, all this kind of other stuff, and everything's going on and stuff like that, and, like, you can't be certain of anything, really, I guess, is the moral of the story. But I feel like it was kind of better this way because we did have a good week of practice, I mean, for the most part. But, I mean, it would have been nice to have, if they would have lost, at least this way, we can go down fighting, for our spot, instead of it already being predetermined for us. Like, tomorrow's game doesn't matter. It's just the last game of the season. It doesn't matter. It's not a do or die situation for us tomorrow, which it would have been, like I said, if they would have lost. But again, that whole thing, again, when it's out of your hands and you don't have control of the situation because you let it get to this point in the season where you're, one place out of making the playoffs, it should never, like I said, should never get to that point where you're at, you have to rely on other teams to get you there. So, again, it was a tough one today. It was difficult, and I spent so much time grieving today. I think that's why I ended up doing the frosting or icing these cookies, because I'm super sad, guys. It's my last year coaching, pretty much. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing next year, but my dad stepped down as president. Like, Jack's not going to have a team next year. They don't have enough kids unless some miracle happens, and still, even then, it's highly unlikely, but they'll be at the exact same level that they're at this year, and losing a lot of the skill kids, and, like, just the level of competition, even with having half gold, half silver, and then even to half the kids were underage. But regardless, I mean, it still wasn't a good situation, doing the exact same thing next year, too, with kids that are either going to be inexperienced or just haven't meshed well together, which was kind of what we had this year anyway. But it's not going to be a great situation. So, probably my last year coaching, which just makes me so sad to say. I mean, like, I could always go and, like, help another team or do something, or whatever, but, yeah, guys, it's just, like, it's not going to be Jack's team. And again, Jack and two of the other kids on the team I've coached all 4 years that I've coached, and they've played. I coached them through their whole youth football. They all started the three of them together all started playing 4 years ago, with the exception of Jack, who played 2 years of flag, but that, again, I guess I should say tackle career. None of those other kids played flag. Jack was the only one. So, yeah, again, like I said, guys, it's a little difficult to kind of swallow, but all it was, honestly, guys, this was just, it was, even if we would have won and the other team would have lost, we made the playoffs, whatever, you know, maybe we make it past the first round, which, again, highly unlikely, I think, because we'd be playing that undefeated team. But even if we did, you know, and let's say we win, it's just delaying the inevitable that this is the last season. And, you know, even if you win the Super Bowl and you go out with a huge bang, like, that's awesome, but in the end, it's the last year, and that's just, you know, it just came quicker. It came quicker for me than, you know, and for our team than it did, you know, a couple of the other teams that do make it to the playoffs. So, you know, I guess that's what I'm coming to. And I got actually, it's 1 o'clock already, guys. I stayed up too late icing these cookies. I keep saying frosting, it's actually icing. But yeah, I'm gonna take a shower and head to bed because I've got to get to the grocery stores in the morning. So I will see all of your sunshiny faces in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe. And again, I will see all of you guys tomorrow. So bye, guys.